Hey there, and you're welcome back to The Simple Creative. I'm your host, Oladimeji Ajegbile, and this is a podcast for those brave enough to start up something from nothing. This episode features the remaining 5 of the creatives that featured on the Simple Creative Assembly. And just as I said in the previous episode, you get to understand what it means to be a creative from other creatives who experience the same thing you experience every day. And this is the conversation with the 5 persons who are left. They picked 2 questions at random and their answers were really amazing. So I really hope that you enjoy this episode. So to start the second episode of the Simple Creative Assembly, we would have our very first guest.
My name is Maureen Aliko. What do I do? I basically help millennials find purpose and live happier. I'm also a youth survival advocate. I'm a Christian. I love to write. And then sometimes I delve into social media management. That's
All right.
about it.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So we have 10 questions left, and you get to make your choice. So you pick 2. You can pick them one after the other, or wait, pick the first one first and then do the second one later. It's all based on what you want to do. So what questions do you choose?
Okay. Let's do this. I was born on the 13th of February, so let's pick question 13.
All right, question 13 first. Okay. All right. So the question is, have you ever been faced with negative feedback? If you have, how has this reflected in your work, if at all?
Okay. Yes, I have a lot of times. As a young creative who is practically trying to experiment with a lot of things, I have been faced with a lot of negative feedback from work, from family, especially from work. But one of the things that has helped me is understanding that in as much as it's coming as a negative feedback, there's really, how do I put this now? I don't see it completely as a negative feedback. I see it as an opportunity to learn.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I receive the feedback, of course, I have to listen to you. I have to listen to your opinion. Your feedback is your opinion. Your perception of what I did, your perception of an idea that I came up with. If you happen to disagree with my idea, with my opinion, and you let me know that, okay, this, I don't agree with this, or this idea you have brought up, or this work you did wasn't top notch. I listen to it, I take it in, but I don't let it affect my creativity. I don't let it affect me as an individual. Yeah, sometimes I can't help it. I would have to pause if I have to ask. Okay, I'll pause and ask myself, okay, why is it coming this bad? But sometimes when the feedbacks come, they're not nice, they're not polite.
At all.
You just hit, and you're like, hello, have some humanity, have some sensitivity.
People can be
But
very
of course,
mean.
very mean. I think a couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to take a class. And one of the ladies, after the class was supposed to last for 3 days, after the first class, someone came to the WhatsApp group where all the participants were, and gave me the laughing of my life. Okay, I don't know if I'll call it the laughing of my life, but
Oh my God.
the note was so long. Funny enough, she didn't come privately. It's okay, this is what I got, or this is what I didn't get. She went public with her observations and lashed out. It rattled me a little bit, but of course, we are creative. We get rattled and then we pick ourselves back up and do what we have to do. But I picked up from her feedback. I tweaked a couple of things. I tweaked based on what she said. But if she felt that way and she was able to voice it out, probably she wasn't the only one who was feeling that way. But even if she was the only one, I figured, okay, if the class was going to be mutually beneficial for both of us, I shouldn't be selfish. I shouldn't be the only one who was going to enjoy the class.
Right.
I had to find the way to also help her enjoy the class. And it turned out okay. On the second day of the class, she was like, oh, I enjoyed this class. It was this, it was that. And in my mind, I'm like, you practically killed me a couple of minutes ago, and now you're telling me you enjoyed this class. But it's one of those things. So every once in a while, I understand that it's that feedback. You listen, pick what you have to pick, but you don't stop after that. You pick yourself up.
All right.
So.
Well, that's awesome. Awesome. All right. So, what's your next question?
Okay, let's do question 9.
Question 9. All right. So,
Yes.
question 9 says, if you could choose a theme song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
A theme song for the rest of my life. Okay, just this morning, while I went for my usual morning prayer walk, got to a point, the song that I kept playing was J Mike's recent song, The Train.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that song is awesome.
Yeah, I was singing, I was dancing, I was jogging like the people were looking at me, but they didn't understand what the song meant. They were like, "What's wrong with this girl? Why is she just happy this morning?" But that song for me encapsulates a lot of things. It says a lot about my journey, says a lot about my decision, says a lot about my future. So that's the song I would go for.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so this is just like a bonus, conversational question, basically. There's
Okay,
this idea that we have about people trying to find their foundation or their purpose, basically, in life, and then it gets to a
okay,
point where they get, in a position where they are stuck, and then they feel
okay,
the only way out is to probably, cut back on their how will I put it now? Like they kind of compromise on who they are, maybe their faith
okay,
or their standards or the way of life that they've been living, just so that they can meet up with someone else's definition of purpose. So, how do you think
okay.
people in situations like that can actually find their footing and really recover their steps back to their purpose?
Okay, first things first, I would encourage the person to understand purpose doesn't have to do with the entire universe. It's a personal journey. It's a journey you decide to embark on because of a relationship with God. So if you start out on the path of discovering or deploying your purpose and it seems like okay, it's not going down as smoothly as you had anticipated it was going to take, I would always say you slow down and pause. And there's really no, for a lot of us, there was really no straight road to finding our purpose. It was, the road was very curvy. Some
Yeah,
days you think you've gotten there, and then after a couple of trial, after a couple of attempts, you just discover, okay, this isn't really me. Sugar. So I would say understand that the journey is personal. One, understand that the road is not entirely smooth, and then personal convictions, personal values. So I try right now. I try as much as possible not to involve myself with things that do not align with my beliefs. If they do not align with my core values, if they do not align with my personal convictions, irrespective of who the person is, I can afford to say no. But for a lot of young creatives, it might be very complicated for them. It might be difficult for them to get to that point where they can say no because they have to make ends meet. They have to join them if they can't beat them. But really, it's about personal conviction. It's about growth. It's about understanding that it's really not about them. There's much more to the life than just what's happening now. So who are you trying to please? Yourself, God, or them? So
oh,
if you understand who you're trying to please, you will be able to make better life choices and you'll be able to make better decisions and better come up with better resolutions to some of these challenges.
wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, and thanks for joining this session. Have a wonderful day. And we have our seventh guest following in the steps of the previous ones.
I'm Quality Caleb, and I'm a graphic designer. And my target audience really is the church because I've noticed a lot of lapses in the church and everything like that. So I've been trying my best for years now to try and improve the church media generally. And I've gotten to places like RFCCG as my as the first place to start before I spread out to other places.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
that's literally
That's
yeah.
awesome. All right, so we have 8 questions left, and questions 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So you have to pick two out of these, and then we get to go into the question.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
choose number 10
All right,
and
number
I'll
10.
choose number 12 and number 12.
Number 10
12
and
then.
12. All right, so that's 10 and 12. Okay. So, given the choice of any two career choices, what would they be?
Hmm. I think for me, I could have chosen aeronautical engineering. It was one career I loved so much, but sometimes purpose is not tied to what you want, it's tied to what God wants. So, I just went for design. So yeah, aeronautical engineering and most likely a professional therapist. Yeah.
Professional therapist. Wow. That's interesting. Okay. All right. So, moving to the next question. How did you get into what you do creatively?
Hmm. I think it started from when I started running from the choice of my parents wanting me to do medicine. So I was pushing myself to look for something else by force by fire. Like I was testing different things, and before design clicked, and I started with programming at first. Just front end development, writing codes, and all those things before I even started doing graphic design. So in the process of me running away from them, I didn't know that I was actually choosing what I wanted to be by the side. I thought I was just playing around. So I started with PowerPoint, started playing a lot with PowerPoint, making slides, making all these short, explanatory videos. And before I know it, I jammed it like that though. And I just started taking it more seriously, and I went to Aptech to study programming because I thought programming was more of the passion, but it was
Okay.
design that was more passion. So in the process of doing Aptech, the only thing I was really excited about was front end development, how to make the website look finer, how to make the UI sweeter, all those things. The
Okay.
remaining back end was story. I just learned it so that I can pass my exams, to be honest. But apart from that, I think that's how the journey started. And before I knew it, I started developing one or two things, and I just I just started loving design. You know,
You know,
then I had
every time we
huh?
talk about this, how did you get into this field? There is
Yeah,
always that kind of funny story that leads to something else. Like maybe you're running
yeah,
from something, or you were dissatisfied with something, or you
yeah,
just came out of that passion you had inside of you. So yeah, I think I understand what you're talking about. Just to like give some sort of explainer to one of the major issues I believe creatives face, which is indecision. Like we suffer from indecision a lot.
yeah.
Indecision in terms of choice of design or choice of career path and all those extra things. So personally for you, do you think there's any particular advice you received, early on in your career that made everything easy for you?
Mm, let me see. Let me see. So because of like starting without mentors,
Okay.
basically, it was just me going through the internet to find out what fits like for me and everything. So I was trying different things and all. But I think I went to Creative Block, or I've forgotten the name of that website. Creative 99. Yeah, Creative 99. Or 99, sorry, 99 Designs.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I went to check, yeah. So I had to check like an article on choosing a career path as a designer, breaking it down, different kind of graphic design. But that was not my issue. My issue was what exactly do I want to put out to the world? Like what value do I want to put out? So like I think with that, knowing your value and everything and knowing your target audience, you can actually streamline what you want to learn to help people in design. So I think the advice I got from everything was that, you have to be, even as a creative, you have to be flexible also. Because there are sometimes things will demand your attention and something may test you. It's just like sometimes they'll give you a logo and you're just like, ah, from where to where? kind of brief is this? And it's going to literally like stretch you. So I think one of the advice is you should be open to anything when it comes to designing, but at the same time, streamline your energy to what you know fits you best. Because I know there are different aspects of design. There's UI design, there's graphic design, there's animations. There's so like I think people
There's
have
a
to
lot
because
of
and
them.
there's sometimes that yeah, so and there's sometimes that until you try, you don't even know that you're actually good at it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think everything has to come from a place of what is your own plan, that kind of thing, not like what is the other person's plan. Because other people they might be getting it in video, and video is not your thing. Your thing is like vector animation straight, but you're trying so hard to be like them. So I think if you don't have your own plan, you might just be going round without even finding your own balance. I think that's I think one advice I would give is knowing what you want, like finding your own balance so that you don't chase somebody else's career and create your own career, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for that advice. And I really appreciate you for coming on this session. Thank you so much. And have a great day. This is the eighth guest on this particular session, the Simple Creative Assembly.
Hi everyone, my name is Faith Adeoye, but everyone calls me Faithy. I'm a digital marketer and also I love to create content. Aside creating content, I review mobile apps and that is what I do on Instagram. And aside that, I own a podcast and I own a book club, a virtual book club that focuses on encouraging people to read, especially youth and especially females. So I'm just focusing on ladies, but I have guys in my team, but the focus is just to like help ladies to grow and read. Yeah,
All
so
right,
that's what.
awesome. It's great to have you here, Faith. So we have questions 8, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 19 left. So you have to make a choice between these numbers, and you're picking two questions. So,
Oh wow. Okay, I'll go with eight. Question eight.
I said, okay, question 8. All right. So that's the first question. That's question 8. Now, this question says that what do you do to get into your creative zone?
What do I do to get into my creative zone? I listen to music and I read and sometimes I watch movies to give me ideas and to motivate me to get into my creative zone.
Okay, so what kind of music do you listen to?
Actually, dear Christian movie songs.
Okay, any particular one that you can talk about right now?
You song.
New songs.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there any particular track that kind of makes it easier for you?
No, no particular track. Just pick from select from any of the songs and I'm fine.
Yeah, I can. I think I understand how your songs albums are just amazing. That yeah,
Yeah.
I play them a lot, so yeah, I understand. All right, moving to your next question. What's your choice?
Oh, what questions are what numbers are left? 14 is
14,
14 available?
14, 16, 17, 18, and 19.
Okay, I'll go for 14.
14. All right. Now, this question says that do you ever create hidden meanings or messages in your work? And if you do, can you explain?
I don't actually. I like to be very detailed and make people understand whatsoever I'm trying to pass across. So definitely everything I mean comes out in my content, not hidden meaning.
All right. But do you
Yeah,
do you? Okay, I'm listening.
and that is because I just want anyone, if anyone, someone that doesn't even understand English, anyone that reads my content should be able to have an idea of what I'm trying to say at that point and zoom off. I wouldn't want them to start thinking, oh, what she's trying to say. Is she talking in parables? Oh, what's the meaning of this? Is this idioms? I don't get it. So I just want people to like read and understand straight up. So I read now have hidden meanings in my content.
All right. There's this famous quote that says that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And I personally am of the school of thought, because this is a simple creative, right? I'm of the school of thought
Yeah.
that the more you can simplify things for your audience, the better it is for you, because it takes them very little time to understand what you mean, which means that you've created more time for them to come back to you for more. When
Yeah.
on the flip, if you start to create, a fizzy and all those extra things in your content, and then you realize that they get lost in the in the real meaning or in the real message of the entire thing, and
Exactly.
you
If
don't really
there is
want to do that.
difficulty understanding what you're trying to tell them, why should I keep coming to your page when I'll keep having headache trying to understand what you're saying? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I really do not have hidden meanings in my content. No, I don't.
But some people like to be, to be deep.
No, maybe because okay, I work in an agency and I'm on the content team and I'm always coming up with copies, campaign content and everything. So my communication style must be simple and direct. I'm already used to that kind of writing style. So why should I have any hidden meaning in my okay, except if I'm trying to play on words for copies. And it depends on the brand. If the brand has this kind of playful personality, fine, awesome. Like the Coco Mag, they kind of have this playful personality, so they can actually have all this pun intended meaning in their content. But no, but then I'm used to like this simple and direct copies. Let people know what you're trying to say. Sell that product with within few minutes with a simple word. So I know I'm not a fan of having all those. No,
I understand. I get it. All
yeah.
right. So I'm quite familiar that you have okay because the entire thing you do talking about apps and very simple content creation, it kind of borders into exactly some of the things the simple creative attempts to bring out. And I want you to just talk a little bit about your app brochure and what people stand to gain from it.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. This is the first time I'll be talking about my app brochure. Okay, so this app brochure came to life because I realized that I'm always on App Store checking out new apps, downloading new apps, and I realized that most of my data in a month, I more like spend them on downloading apps, installing, uninstalling apps, and everything. And I realized that I can always share my ideas with people. Why should I keep holding on to ideas when people can benefit from what I know? So that actually made me to come up with an ebook for business owners and for creatives. So this ebook has reviewed 64 mobile apps, and these apps are in 7 different categories. I have mobile apps for designing, for people who are into photography, for people who love to like boost their productivity, for podcast lovers and everybody. So in this ebook, aside from the fact that I have 64 reviewed mobile apps, in this ebook there's an embedded link for anybody to join my community. Okay, this community is the community for mobile app explorers, people who love to learn new things about mobile apps. So once you like have access to my ebook, you also stand the opportunity to always read from me every month because the content I'll be dishing out to your email will be different from what I'll be talking about on my page. So which means people that doesn't have access to my community, they won't definitely know about new apps I'm talking about every month. Or there are people
It's
talking about new
exclusive.
apps. So or I'm talking about new apps on my page, but then it will be more detailed. New apps like okay, let's say this month, no, last month, I already talked about some apps on my page. And while I was sending out emails for August, I talked about new mobile apps and I talked about them like detailed explanation of how to do this, what you can make use of this feature for. I even made a tutorial video embedded in that email. So if you have access to my ebook, it's just more like having the key to open the door, because aside from this community it's a closed community, so aside from this community there are other things I'm trying to come up with that will benefit people that actually have access to the community that will be reading my emails. So it's more
Wow.
like you accessing my ebook with just 2K and having access to all the
A
goody
whole lot
goodies,
more.
because there was one time I spoke about a mobile app on my page, and the main page, okay, mobile app is called Boosted. They reached out to me, they sent me a DM and told me about an offer that if someone should review their mobile app, person stand a chance to get me like, was it $50? I can't remember. And I told people in my community, I sent them an email that this offer is open, do this, do that. Someone did, and the person got money. So Even myself, I didn't do it because I just didn't have the time. So that is one thing. That is one of the benefits of being a part of the community. And not just everybody can join. You have to have access to my ebook. Then on the last page of the ebook, you have access to the link to join the community.
All right, well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Faith. So, guys, you've
Thank
heard
you.
that the ebook. Just reach out to Faith on Instagram at faithadioye_, and you get to see everything you need. All right, thank you so much, Faith, and have a great day. And as we're getting very close to the end, we have guest number 9.
Okay, my name is Lois Ugbe, and I'm a podcaster and a boarding education policy expert.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So how long have you been doing what you do?
For podcasting, over like 10 months. 10 months, yeah.
10 months. Oh, awesome. Awesome. All right, so we have 4 questions left, and you have to make a decision by choosing 2. So what do you choose?
16 and 19.
16 and 19.
Yes.
All right, so question 16 says, how do you know when a piece or project is finished and needs no additional work?
Well, depends on the person.
Okay.
Yeah. And depends on if I feel like a satisfaction, like an inner peace, so I feel like it's complete.
All right. So that's sometimes you're working on a project and you get to a point where you feel everything is done, and then maybe like a day or 2 days after, you come back and you realize that something needs to be added. So do you ever get to a point where you feel nothing else needs to be added?
No, I think every time you finish a particular project in your mind, somehow you go back to it. There's this like, okay, I need to do something more, but somehow I don't just get to do it. So I feel done like that. I just overlook it.
All right.
Because if I start doing it, I feel like it keeps adding up. Like more things keeps opening up. So I just stop there, basically.
Okay. All right. So question 19.
Okay.
All right. So this question says, if you had to be any of these things, which would you like to be? Number 1,
okay,
a member of the opposite sex. Number 2, a clock. Number 3, a pair of shoes. And number 4, a dog. Please explain your choice.
Maybe a pair of shoes, yeah.
Why?
At least people will get to see me. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a beautiful pair of shoes, so people will get to see me and appreciate me.
Why did you go for clock?
Okay, yeah, clock. Everybody check the time every time. No, I just feel there's more beauty. There's more beauty with a shoe, so
okay.
Clock doesn't look for me like that. So.
All right, awesome. So this is just off the topic or the questions. So you've been podcasting for about 10 months now. What's that one advice you give to someone who wants to start podcasting in this current situation in 2020, as it were?
Okay, we don't just start because everybody's starting. Because along the line, if the reason for starting is not strong enough, you will just stop doing it. You will be consistent. So I feel like if I'm going to give anybody an advice right now, to be like, have a niche. Like, why are you starting? And let that drive you, basically.
All right.
I feel it's the passion for the podcast that will actually drive you to be consistent.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's true. All right. Thank you so much for sharing, and thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And finally, we have the very last guest number 10 for this particular session of the Simple Creative Assembly.
My name is Oguni Olaoluwa, and my Instagram handle is HS Olaolu. So I'm a video creator. I love to create videos and a lot more things, just to like a lot of creativity get.
Wow, that's awesome. So how long have you been doing that?
For like maybe a year now.
A year now. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. All right, so you already know what we're doing. We're doing a Q&A. So I will just pick out the questions because you're the last person, and then there are 2 questions left. So So the first question, or the question 18 that is available, says that what inspires you?
What inspires me? Okay. I think what inspires me is just to how do I put it? Like I have a lot of people I'm aspiring to be like I aspire a lot of people, like I see them as my model, like a role model. So like they challenge me a lot, they challenge me every day. So that makes me to work up myself to become the best version of myself, and that keeps me going every day. So I like to try a lot of things and get, so just to like to be a better version of myself.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Most times when we start to create things, we always have people we look up to, and it's good to have people like that inspires us to be better. Because
Yeah.
I think one of the major things with this creativity thing is the moment you start to see people do the things you do and are a little bit better than you, the only logical thing to do is to learn from them and get better yourself. So yeah, I think I can resonate with that. Okay. Now the last question here says that if you had if you had only 24 hours to live, how would you spend your day?
So 2 hours to live. Eh, it's a very hard question, though.
Yeah,
But
no worries. No pressure, no pressure.
let me just say, I'll just uh, first of all I'll plan on how to go about it. Then I I'll just be creative. Let me just say I'll just be creative because I love creating things a lot. I love creating things a lot. So let's say I use maybe like an hour to plan for what I want to do that day for that 24 hours. So let's say maybe I can use probably let's say maybe 15 hours to create a
Okay.
lot of things. So and we have to rest, body no be wood, so you get. So I can say I'll use the remaining 23 hours to create. I have to rest. So let us say I'll use most of the hours, like 15 hours to create, because creating is just like an hobby to me. I love to try new things, you get.
Oh, that's amazing. All right. So currently, you create videos. What kind of what kind of videos do you create?
For now I'm just trying on like B-roll sequence.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for now. That's what I'm creating. But before then, I was creating some like funny videos just to try out editing. You get.
Okay. All right. So if
But for
you give
now,
any advice to any person trying to start out with creating videos, what would you tell the person?
um, the thing I would tell the person is a word says, like I used to say, like a word says, when the choice is not available, the available becomes the choice. So I would just advise the person to go with whatever your shares. You get. You might not have a big thing today. You might not even start with a camera itself. You can start with a smartphone. So I'll just advise the person to start with whatever your shares. You get. Just to keep it quick, to keep it low. You have to start from being local to being global. You get. So I
Yeah.
just advise the person to keep at it, keep doing the thing, and I'll see the person a winner. You
Wow,
get.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It's been a wonderful session, and yeah, have a wonderful time. And we've come to the end of this particular session with the remaining 5 persons who featured on the Simple Creative Assembly. It was really an amazing and enlightening session for me because I get to connect with these 10 persons on a closer level, understand what it means to be a creative from a whole new perspective, and it's really amazing and remarkable that this actually happened. The season 5 of the Simple Creative is starting very soon, and I'm really excited and hyped. You've seen the guest list, you know the persons who are coming to really inspire us, and I really hope that you enjoy the season 5 of the Simple Creative podcast. So stay tuned and definitely rate this podcast on all platforms, and I'll see you next time.